Hi. Yesterday I uploaded my first YouTube video ever. And when I signed into my account, I noticed that a bunch of people had posted comments replying to comments I had posted on other videos, and some of these were months old. I hadn't been on YouTube commenting on videos really in months before yesterday, and one comment of mine that had elicited some particularly visceral sounding replies was something I had written on a video of Rachel Maddow. It was back when she was an Air America talk show host, and I guess she was talking about Ann Coulter. What I wrote really wasn't all that offensive. I was just making an observation, but it seemed to rub some people the wrong way. And that gave me an idea for what I could do as my first real YouTube video, since yesterday was just meant to be an introduction, and the first video that I will upload to my new website, rightwinggenius.com. There's a special election in New York today. The 26th Congressional District is currently without a representative because Republican Congressman Christopher Lee resigned abruptly earlier this year after, well, let's just say he has made use of Craigslist in what is not an entirely uncommon way, but something you really don't like to see from your representative in Washington. And this special election to replace him has attracted a lot of attention from many people, including Rachel Maddow.
With Donald Trump done even pretending to run for president, the race to become the most catastrophic major party top-of-the-ticket candidate of 2012 is slightly clearer, but still pretty wide open.
Okay, just so you know, the reason I'm doing it this way, as opposed to just incorporating a clip of her TV show into my video, is, well, I guess that is what I'm doing, but you know what I mean. Instead of using the computer to edit it together so it looks nicer. Technically, if you upload copyrighted material without the author's permission, that's copyright infringement. And I'm told that if I do it this way, then it's fair use. Although I probably should have gotten the opinion of one of my property law professors instead of that guy at the gas station who smells like burnt rubber. Anyway, I wanted to play the clip from the beginning so that it would look like I was just taking a clip of her out of context and then critiquing her. But if you're familiar with Rachel Maddow, then you know it sometimes takes her a long time to get to her point. She's talking about Carl Palladino, obviously, and she's going to tie this into the special election.
Astonishingly racist emails were about the president, either on the theme of black people as subhuman.
Okay, yeah, that's boring. I should fast forward this, but it's coming pretty soon. Carl Palladino would have made a good governor. Maybe. I don't know. Cuomo doesn't seem to be doing that bad of a job.
Republican Party's candidate for governor in New York State in 2010. Not like back in your great-grandpa's day, something this crazy happened. But last year, the Republican Party ran this guy as their nominee for governor of a large state. And he lost very badly, and you would think the Republican Party would want to make the memory of Carl Palladino go away. But no. Today, in the special election in upstate New York to fill Christopher Lee's House seat,
That's the picture.
There was Carl Palladino, brought in to literally stand right behind the Republican candidate and be photographed alongside her, to remind everybody that when you think Republican in New York, you can think about the racist bestiality porn guy who lost by almost 30 points. It was a bad day for the Republicans for that special election today, just all around. In addition to the Carl Palladino endorsement decision, genius, The Rothenberg Political Report today changed its rating in the race from lean Republican to toss-up/tilt Democratic. Also, a Democratic-leaning group called House Majority PAC is launching this new ad in the district, which will not, of course, level the playing field, what with all the money being spent by Karl Rove's group and the other Republican groups spending tons and tons of money there, but it may make it a competition. Regardless of the outside money, though, regardless of the personalities and paladinos of this race, the major issue of this race, the issue that seems to be at the heart of why a Democrat even has been able to get within striking distance in a district this red, the issue continues to be Medicare. Specifically killing Medicare, specifically the Republican candidate in the race saying she'd vote for the Paul Ryan Republican budget to kill Medicare. That is what turned this race around. And so the single worst thing that happened for the Republican Party's chances for holding on to that seat in New York 26 today, on a day that a lot went wrong for them, the single worst thing is that Paul Ryan, author of the Kill Medicare plan, cannot stop talking about it. After the House Republicans backed away from it, said they wouldn't pursue it, the Ways and Means Committee chairman said he wouldn't even try to move it forward. After even the Speaker of the House recognized that political reality was not going to be with them on the Kill Medicare thing, Paul Ryan himself is still flogging it and getting a national audience whenever he does it. He gave a whole speech on the wisdom of his plan to kill Medicare today at the Economic Club of Chicago, thus doing the Republican candidate in that poor little special election in New York 26 the favor of reminding all of those voters and the country why an ought-to-be Republican district like this is even conceivably in play. Joining us now is Eugene Robinson, MSNBC political analyst and Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist.
God. Okay, why an ought-to-be Republican district like this is even conceivably in play. According to Rachel Maddow, the reason is, well, she calls it the Paul Ryan plan to kill Medicare. We're going to be talking about that this summer, and anyway, but to hear her tell it, that's the main issue, maybe the only issue, the only reason this district is in play. But that actually doesn't make sense when you know the whole story. Now, this was last week. I think this was on Monday or Tuesday. Later that week, Rachel Maddow picked up her coverage of this race in a separate segment. And I want you to watch this as best you can, because I know the picture's terrible. And while you're watching it, keep track of how many times she describes the path to prosperity as the Paul Ryan kill Medicare plan, or some variation of that.
The federal power the Republicans have right now are the Republicans controlling the House. Do they really think they're going to beat Barack Obama in their re-election campaign? Do they really think a Republican has a chance to beat Obama? I don't think they really think they have that chance. But they're not going to let somebody even try to beat Obama for the White House by trashing the House Republicans, not when that's all they have. So the right and the Republican Party are insisting on this price. In order to be a real candidate, you've got to endorse the Paul Ryan kill Medicare thing, which is a classic catch-22 for Republican candidates. Because if you do endorse the Paul Ryan kill Medicare thing, voters will likely have something to say about that. There's a special election going on right now in New York State, New York 26. FEC filings today show that the National Republican Congressional Committee has already spent more than $400,000 on that special election in a district that's so red they shouldn't have to spend a single dollar. Karl Rove's PAC says it's going to spend more than $600,000 in that district, where again, they should not have to spend a dollar. This is a red district. Even with all that spending, why is that New York 26 race being described by the Rothenberg Political Report as a toss-up/leans Democratic? A district that red, leaning Democratic, with that much Republican spending on it? Leaning Democratic, why is it even in play? It's in play because of Catch-22. Because the Republican candidate in that race said she would vote for the Paul Ryan kill Medicare plan. You have to say that, or the right and the Republican Party won't really let you run. They won't let you be taken seriously. But when you say that, even in a district that voted for George W. Bush twice and then for John McCain, Republican candidates start losing their voters, and fast. With 1 week left in that campaign, the Republicans are facing some devastating ads, again, tying their candidate to the Paul Ryan kill Medicare plan.
While Corwin's plan would essentially end Medicare, it increases the debt by giving tax breaks to big oil and millionaires.
The Republican candidate in New York 26 is being hit with ads like that. Her and her party's best and only rejoinder, their closing argument in the last week of the campaign, has been to run their own Republican ads that say, no, 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 the Democrat wants to kill Medicare too. Everything should be on the table. Whether they will convince anybody of that is an interesting and open question, but
Okay, I just want to stop it right there to make one quick point. Notice that the difference in the ads, as Rachel Maddow displayed them, apparently attempting to bolster her arguments, or at least demonstrate what she's saying about the race. Notice the difference. The anti-Republican ad, the ad attacking Jane Corwin, it was basically just a series of talking points and sound bites, whereas the ad attacking the Democrat, Kathy Hochul, quotes her directly. It uses her own words. I just find that interesting. So, scare tactics, yes, but isn't one ad really more honest than the other? You make the call. Anyway.
Republicans, even the National Republican Campaign Committee, even the House Campaign Committee for the Republican Party knows that the most potent political attack in America today is to say, you want to kill Medicare. You agree with Paul Ryan. You signed up for the official Republican plan that we're holding everybody to. Seeing their own candidate getting blown away by that attack in what ought to have been a super red district, the only thing Republicans can think to do in response now is say, I'm rubber, you're glue. Say it about yourself. Paul Ryan announced today that he will not try to run for the U.S. Senate seat that has just opened up in his home state of Wisconsin. He says he does not want to be his junior senator. He's enjoying the influence he has right now in the House too much. And it's true. It would be hard to overstate Paul Ryan's impact on national politics right now. If you do not endorse the Paul Ryan Kill Medicare plan, the right will not even let you run in a major race. But if you do endorse his plan, the country will not let you win. In a parliamentary system, something going on like this in a minor party somewhere might make mathematical sense for some sort of coalition strategy. But in our system, in our little duopoly, all this is great news for Democrats. Joining us now is Chris Hayes, Washington editor of The Nation magazine and an MSNBC contributor. Chris, good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Good to see you, too.
All right, he's even worse than Eugene Robinson. But, so you heard her give some pretty long, if not exactly thorough, assessments of the congressional special election up in New York today. And one thing she neglected to mention in either of those two segments was that there's another candidate in the race besides the Republican and Democratic candidates, a guy named Jack Davis, who's a 78-year-old multimillionaire businessman and is running as the Tea Party candidate. At least that is how he styles himself, the Tea Party candidate in the race. And every poll taken there, although there admittedly hasn't been much polling done in the race, shows that he's siphoning votes away from Corwin. I've seen his numbers anywhere from, he's taking 13% of the vote, according to one poll, 24% in another. Who knows what he'll ultimately get on election day. But isn't it interesting that she never mentioned that she seemed to think this entire race was a referendum on, I assume when she's saying kill Medicare, she's talking about the path to prosperity. And again, we'll have some interesting stuff on that plan this summer. Stay tuned. Won't be pushing any senior citizens off a cliff, though I may do something much more gruesome. Think Fargo. But getting back to the point, there's a third-party candidate in the race who is siphoning votes away from the Republican, Jane Corwin. And the interesting thing about this particular independent candidate who is claiming to be the Tea Party candidate in the race is that he doesn't really seem to have a background that would lead one to believe he's a true Tea Party believer. This guy, Jack Davis, has previously run twice in the district as a Democrat, and while that does not necessarily disqualify someone from being a Tea Partier, plenty of Democrats have joined the Tea Party movement, he voted for Obama. He admitted it. And so, who knows what's in this guy's mind? But they're